Hello everyone, I'm back with another recently watched video because we all know I keep watching stuff. This might be a new monthly installment because your girl watches lots and lots of things because, you know, feeding baby, rocking baby, all that kind of stuff. I'm watching stuff when I should probably be reading. But nevertheless, let's get into it. I have a couple shows and a lot of movies that I've watched. So I'm going to start with the shows. First up is a show that I really had no intention of watching, but then I kept seeing clips on it just randomly suggested to me on YouTube. So YouTube's great for that. And I decided, you know what? Let's do it. And that is Ted Lasso. This is a Apple TV original. So I got myself a trial for that and watched the first 2 seasons because that's the only 2 that are out. And it's a great show. Like, if you haven't watched it, go for it. Get yourself an Apple trial and just binge it. You'll have no problem doing that. This is all about a guy named Ted Lasso who is a football coach here in America, but then he gets a job to coach football in London. And if you don't know, football, and I think everywhere else in the world probably, but not America, football is soccer. You get what I'm saying? So of course he is obviously out of his element. So he basically has to learn a whole new sport, coach all of these really amazing athletes that are, you know, soccer players and things like that. Well, he doesn't know what's going on at all. And it's just a great and wholesome show. Ted Lasso is like the epitome of sunshine. He is just very, like, where's he from? He's like from, I don't know, like Midwest maybe. He's just wholesome and he's great. He's always funny jokes and it's just a funny show. So if I could give season 1 a rating, I would give it a 5 out of 5. I loved it so much, binged the mess out of it. Season 2, I think fell a little bit flat for me, not insanely much. I gave season 2 a 4 out of 5, but it was still really good. I also really love the way they're setting up a character because I don't want to spoil it for you because season 1, they introduced a character. All of them were introduced really, but by season 2, they have changed dramatically, and by the end of it, you're like, wow, I did not see that coming, that they were laying groundwork for it all along, and it was very interesting, the dynamic of that character. Like, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with them in season 3 because, gosh, I mean, this show has so amazing cast in it as well. I love Roy. Roy is my favorite. He's like this burly soccer captain that's like, doesn't really care about anything, but he's got a heart of gold. You know, I love those books as well when it comes to like the grumpy guy and he gets with a sunshine girl and you realize that he's got a heart of gold and it's just adorable. This show was actually like based on a commercial that Jason Sudeikis made like 10 years ago. And in fact, you can see a lot of the same jokes are used in the commercial. Is great. It's all about, you know, American football coach being hired to coach soccer. It's a great show. Highly recommend getting a trial of Apple TV to watch it because it was so much fun. I loved it a ton. Another show I watched is just another like Disney kind of National Geographic show because I'm into those. I just like some of them for some reason. This one is called National Parks. I didn't go through all the national parks in the US because there is so many. I think it had 8 or 9 episodes. It had like Yosemite, the Smoky Mountains. It had one that was in my state that I cannot think of for the life of me. I'm horrible, but it just each episode talked about a different national park, showing the wildlife in it, showing the kind of nature around it. And it was just amazing, especially learning the backstory of certain, national parks, how former presidents made a pact to like never use that land to like sell it or like have anything built upon it. And it was just really awesome. I'd say if you're a big fan of nature and wildlife, which I am, I love watching stuff like that. I highly recommend watching this show, but understand if not, it's definitely not a show for everyone because, you know, I don't think ton of people watch as much like nature wildlife shows as much as I do. I don't know, but there you go. So those are the only 2 shows that I've watched. The rest are movies because I've just been into movies lately. I watched Freaky. This is one I wanted to watch a while because I like Vince Vaughn. He's a funny guy. Wedding Crashers, old school, kind of those really like kind of vulgar movies I do enjoy. But Freaky is one that's like a Freaky Friday inspired, but only when a serial killer and a teenage girl switch bodies. You kind of go from that. So Vince Vaughn's playing like a teenage girl essentially. This was, you know, I'm 2.5 out of 5. There was not much to it. You could see the plot coming from a mile away. It was very cliche, very cheesy. It was just it was kind of what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting much from it, as much as I do like Vince Vaughn as an actor. There are some movies you could tell that's just not going to be it, and this is one that was not it. I mean, I don't know if I'd recommend it. Maybe if it's like Halloween and you want to binge all like the kind of creepy movies, go for it, but it wasn't even scary. because I don't watch scary movies. It was more like, you know, funny, kind of creepy, I guess. I don't know. It just wasn't there for me. So 2.5 out of 5. Next up is one that I really wanted to love because I love the actor so much, and that is Mr. Right. I saw this on Netflix, and I saw that Sam Rockwell was in it, and I love Sam Rockwell. Anything that Sam Rockwell is in, I'm obsessed with. He's in one of my favorite movies of all time, a very underrated indie movie called The Way, Way Back, and he is just so much fun. Like, he dances in every movie he's in because he can dance amazingly, and this movie I really felt like captured his really just craziness. So he is a hitman basically in this movie, but he's a hitman that's changed his ways and only like kills people that he feels like are bad. And then he meets a girl that's Anna Kendrick, and they kind of fall in love. It's very kind of, I don't want to say stupid. It could have been so much more, but it was just so much, if that makes any sense at all. Like, it could have been so interesting because both the actors are amazing. I love their chemistry together. I loved how weird both of them were. I loved it, but it just didn't pan out well for me. Like, I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, and I really am sad about it because I love both the actors so much, but it just wasn't there for me. It's definitely a movie that like nobody has heard of really and watches a lot, and I get it because it's just not amazing. I really wish it was, though. I really do. Next was one probably a lot of seen, and that is the new Netflix movie Red Notice. This one's got The Rock in it, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. This one I gave a 3.5 out of 5. It was fun. It was, you know, satire, things like that. I think when you see one Ryan Reynolds movie, you've seen them all because it's got the same sense of humor and everything. Like, he's very sarcastic, very witty, things like that. But I mean, it's a fun movie to watch. I'm in the stage right now where I like to watch just fun movies to pass the time. That's how I'm doing. That's what I'm doing right now. But I mean, it was, you know, it's all about art heist and things like that, and like a FBI guy and an art stealer guy, I don't know what you would call it, team up together to try to take down another art stealer. That's not even the right word, but what, you just go with it. And it was fun. I believe they're going to make a sequel. Will I watch it? Probably. It was okay. 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't anything like amazing out of the park, but it wasn't like horrible by any means. It's kind of like, you know, your standard kind of just funny movie, I guess you could say. I don't know. I actually went to the theater. Like, wow, look at me. I went to see the new Ghostbusters Afterlife with my friend Brittany, and we both really enjoyed it. We've both seen the original Ghostbusters, and we're not like crazy huge fans of it. I think that's more kind of like, I think we were a little too young for it when it came out, but we still really enjoyed the sequel. I think it paid a great tribute to the original. I love the way they did it, the way it followed new characters but tied in the old Ghostbusters as well, and they didn't overtake it. And the ending was just, I wanted to cry so much, and I definitely could see this being a series. Paul Rudd is in it. I think that was a big selling point for a lot of people, but he really wasn't in the movie, and I wasn't mad about that at all because I love Paul Rudd. Who doesn't love Paul Rudd? But I would say the girl, Phoebe, I forget her name, she really steals the show. She does amazing in it, and her little friend, and her friend that has the podcast where he like he'll take a microphone everywhere he goes and records things. Like, they stole the show. They were amazing actors, and I loved it. It's very funny, very witty. It's got the Ghostbusters element into it. It pays tribute to the old one in a great way, and especially for the actor that passed away. I highly recommend it. I loved it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I can't wait to see what they're going to do more with this series, honestly. And then I watched another new movie that's out in theaters, but I actually watched it on HBO Max, and that is King Richard. So this is all about Richard Williams, Venus and Serena's dad, and how he kind of really helped shape and mold them into the tennis players that they are. So you start off with Venus and Serena. They're, I don't even know, like maybe 10, maybe a little bit older, and they're getting their way into tennis and things like that, and it shows how far he's willing to go to get them to be pro and to do things. And it was a great movie. Will Smith did a great job in it. The girls that played Venus and Serena were awesome. It was a great kind of biopic, I guess you could say. I really enjoyed it. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 as well. I was thoroughly entertained from the start to the end. It taught me a lot about tennis. They had to overcome a lot of things, about family problems, about where they lived at, and you know what he was willing to do to get his kids to be successful and things like that. Highly recommend it. I could see him getting nominated for an Oscar for this, honestly. His acting was that good, I think, but I really enjoyed it. Would highly recommend it. I don't think it's on HBO Max anymore. You have to, when movies come out and they are on theaters, but also on HBO Max, you have to watch them like that because they will go away within a week or two. So if it's still there, highly recommend watching it. Speaking of HBO Max, I have my friends thing. You know, you share your logins with friends and your mom and stuff like that. But I saw that The Mummy was on there, and that is something that I loved as a kid. The Mummy, I loved it. Even when I went to Universal Studios and they had the Mummy ride, I was just so excited for that. So I decided to watch The Mummy and The Mummy Returns with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, and they're just fun, classic 90s movies. Are the graphics great? No, but it was the 90s. Was Brendan Fraser awesome in it? Yeah, he was. I highly recommend watching it. I don't think they're 5 out of 5 movies at all. I would give them both like a 3.5 out of 5, but they're just fun movies with the mummy element into them and learning and discovering things about Egypt and things like that. And it's interesting. They're fun. I think they're great 90s movies. It's classic Brendan Fraser 90s, so I just had a fun time watching it. It was a fun time. That's all I can say about it, really. Next up, I watched a new movie that I think came out in theaters, but I was able to rent it, and that is Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. Like I said, once you've seen one Ryan Reynolds movie, you kind of see them all, but I actually did really enjoy this one. This one's hard to explain. It's basically about a video game. I can't think of like a name for it, but think of like World of Warcraft, where you have multiple players that play in it, and Ryan Reynolds is just a NPO, a non-player, like he's just kind of there in the game, and he's like a bank teller, and all this crime happens around him until finally he puts on the glasses that the users see, and he's like, oh, there are more things that are in this game, like I'm in a game, and he doesn't realize it, and he meets this girl that's a player, and it's very interesting. I'm not explaining it well at all, but it's very funny. I love the game aspect to it. It was just really awesome in that regard. I loved how it kind of all played out at the end. It was a fun movie. I would give it a 4 out of 5. I did say once you've seen one Ryan Reynolds movie, you've seen them all, but this one was actually really enjoyable. I had a good time watching it. Like I said, I loved the video game aspect of it. It was just a fun time overall. The last movie I rented that I forgot that I never had even seen is Venom. This one came out in 2018, and of course stars Tom Hardy, and he plays Venom. And yeah, I wanted to watch this one because I wanted to rent the new one, but you can only buy that right now, so I'm trying to wait for it to come to be rented to be lower price, you know. But I enjoyed this one. It's a fun one. Venom, if you don't know, is kind of like he's like an alien that's like a goop thing, and he takes over, and they have to have like host, and so he finds Tom Hardy's body. He finds Tom Hardy's body. Say that 10 times fast. Tom Hardy's body. Tom Hardy's body. Blah, blah, blah. But you know what I'm saying? He finds his body, and he becomes his host. And Tom Hardy's like all of a sudden got this appetite for people and different things, and he's hearing voices in his head. That's Venom, and it's kind of like a dark comedy, if you will. Venom is definitely an anti-hero. He's not a hero by any means, but he's not really truly a villain. He's kind of in the middle. So it's very, very funny to see you know, how it goes out. And like I said, there's a sequel, Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. I do plan to watch that when I can rent it, but I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to, but I think I like the sequel even more because they've already established everything. In Venom, you know, you had to set up the kind of the background and things like that, and they already did that, so I'm hoping the sequel will just get right into it and have a great time with it. There you have it. That is all the things I watched this past month. A lot of things, and I expect next month will be just the same because I love watching things right now, and I'm trying to embrace it because usually I don't do that. Usually I'm a person that just rewatches the mess out of things like The Office or Friends or, you know, other movies that I've seen 50,000 times before, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm like, you know what, I want to watch something new, something interesting. So that's what I've been doing lately, and I'm happy, and I hope it keeps up because I do enjoy filming these and talking about recent things I watched lately. I'd love to know if you've watched any of these things, what your feelings are on them, and also what would you recommend for me to watch, things like that. But speaking of watching, thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.